Yes, welcome back, everybody. We are now ready to welcome Efecte and the company's COO, Stefan Schumacher. Welcome, Stefan, and we are looking forward to hear your presentation, so please go ahead.
Good, thank you so much, and it's great to be here, and greetings from Finland. So really good to be here. So my name is Stefan Schumacher. I'm the COO of Efecte, so I'm responsible for sales, marketing, delivery and support. So I'll go to market, and today I'm going to give you a quick introduction of Efecte, who we are, what is our journey, where are we right now, and where we are heading towards. So we are on this journey at Efecte in building the leading European player in service management. And if you can go to the next slide, I'm going to give you in this presentation, first of all, a bit of an understanding what Efecte is, what kind of challenges and issues we solve for our customers, and then I'm going to go into our SaaS equation, like what are our metrics, what is our strategy, and how do we see ourselves, where do we see ourselves in a few years. So we at Efecte, we work and we operate in the European service management market. That European service management market grows currently at over 15% CAGR, depending a bit who you ask. Somebody says it's 20, somebody says it's 15. And our focus really is in European customers in mid-market and public sector. We run a scalable SaaS business, so we develop, we sell, and we market and support our own SaaS application, which helps customers to digitalize and automate their system. We have been on a track on international expansion for the past 5-6 years. We have our direct operations in Scandinavia, operated out of Sweden. We have a team and a team in Germany, operating in the DACH market, and surely our home market is Finland. On top of this, we have also expanded our market reach to a partner channel. And in the past few years, we have proven that our product is competitive. We have international scale, and I'm going to go through a bit more of those details as we go forward in the presentation. From a company size perspective, rolling 12 months revenues at 18.6 million euros in Q1, and last year our SaaS growth was 24%, with international growth being faster at 38% in Q1. If you look at our revenue mix, the share of SaaS revenue of our total revenue is 62%. On top of that, we still have some other recurring elements, maintenance from some customers that still run perpetual systems, perpetual software. So our kind of recurring revenue is around 70%, take it or leave it. And the rest of our business is really professional services. So where we help our customers to adopt and implement the Efecte solution. In the end of the period in Q1, we were 130 people and have been growing our headcount in the past years. So what kind of problem and challenge does Efecte help customers with? So on the next slide, I've heard this kind of a pretty simple use case. So we at Efecte, on high level, we help customers and the people at our customer side to digitalize and automate their work. A very simple use case for the use of Efecte is that if you go to the bullet number 1, you are an end user employee in a company. You have a request for a new laptop. You need HR support. Your system does not work. You have a broken IT system and you cannot access something. So you use Efecte then to go into a self-service experience. So you either go into a web page, you kind of submit your request or your incident, or you give a call to your IT department. So when this happens, a service request, a ticket is created in Efecte, and then Efecte basically automatically kind of manages the request in the customer's IT environment. So it is then automatically routed to the right specialist in the IT team. There can be automatization, there can be AI kind of features that are used to find the right specialist. And then, Efecte helps to Efecte's workflows help them to fulfill the request, including approval processes if needed. And then in the end, you as the end user, you get your service request completed, you get your incident solved, and then all of this is then transparent. You get the reporting you need and the business insight you need as a CIO or as a business decision maker. So this is a very simple use case of Efecte. And while this use case here was a bit IT related, the same use case in digitalizing and automating any process can be done, for example, for HR. You have a request for HR, you want to check, you have problems with your pay slip, or you might have an issue or question about your vacations and so forward. So we kind of can take all of that manual process away from the companies and help them to then digitalize and automate their processes. And so this is a simple use case of Efecte. And if you go to the next slide, there you basically, we have on a simple way kind of a solution offering here. We have one single cloud platform that we provide, and out of that one single cloud platform, we deliver three major capabilities. So we do IT service management, also called ITSM. And in this IT service management, we support all of the 19 ITIL processes, all the way from change management, request, incident, and we can help IT organizations to digitalize and automate their work. And then secondly, one of the part of the portfolio is something we call enterprise service management, also called ESM. In this case, we help customers to automate any process they have. That could be an HR process, a finance process, and so forward. So basically expanding that IT service management scenario to new business areas. And the third piece of the puzzle is digitalizing and automating digital identities. So we have an identity government and administration offering that then integrates seamlessly into the Efecte platform. And here a typical use case is that you as when there's a new person joining a company, we can basically automate the creation of required user access into systems, and then when people leave the company, we can automate the removal of those digital identities. And I think this is the kind of the core. These three elements form the core of kind of what we sell to our customers and where customers get the value from. On the next slide, if you look at these three markets here, basically you look at the ITSM market, the IT service management market, you look at the enterprise service management market, and then you look at the IGA market. It's a huge market. It's a market in Europe that is 2.5 billion euros. And if you look at the markets in which we have our own teams, Germany, Sweden, Finland, that's almost $1 billion market, and that market is growing. So we see a lot of opportunities a lot of market demand to our solutions, and we are on this path to kind of work from these countries where we are, and we have an expansion strategy to kind of address as much of that market as we can. In the beginning of the year, if you go to the next slide, we talked about kind of the key strategies and the key direction where we want to be. So the market is big, so we are not constrained by the market size, and we have set ourselves a very ambitious goal. We want to be the leading European alternative in our space, and that means that what does it mean? It means that if we want to be one of the biggest players in this market, we need to eventually get into a 100 million euro level on our revenues. And when we are there, we can operate on the 25% EBITDA margin. And how do we get there? We have laid 4 key kind of pillars into our strategy. One is growth. We need to continue growing into our existing markets. So we are going to continue investing into Finland, into Sweden, into the Nordics, in Germany, and we're also looking at expansion into new countries. We are going to invest and continue putting more efforts into kind of expanding our partner channel market, And the current guidance on growth is that by 2025 we're going to be at a 35 million euro EBITDA level. Product is important. In the core, we are a technology company, and the competitiveness of our product is key. The three key differentiators in our product is agility, the way customers can implement our system, experience. So we bring the Nordic flair into the system. It's easy to use, it's fun to use, and the third piece is total cost of ownership. So it needs to make financial sense for customers to buy Efecte. And we're going to continue investing in these product differentiators in our product. Third important piece of how we get there is people. We are a people company. Our culture, the way how we can attract talent, keep the team intact is important, and that's something we're going to continue doing. The fourth piece is M&A. So here, we have been saying that we are actively looking for kind of potential M&A candidates. First of all, looking for technology elements that can help us to accelerate our platform, bring advancements into the technology platform. And here we actually 2 weeks ago announced our intent, a public tender offer on a company called Dette that kind of provide an AI-based chatbot experience kind of platforms, and for that, we have a public tender offer open. And by 2025, we want to be at 35 million, and eventually, when we get to the 100 million euro, that's not going to only happen by an organic means, and that's why we have this inorganic kind of direction as well. So that's where we are heading. So how are we doing right now on that strategy? And on the next slide, I have a few of these, let's say, SaaS metrics for you. So our SaaS ARR right now is at 12.7 million euros end of March period. We grew our SaaS at 24%, in the national SaaS with 38%. We have a really good scalable business in our SaaS model. So our recurring gross margin is at 81%. So it means that we are operating a very healthy, scalable SaaS business. Our NRR is at 115. So it means that our customers are one of our key important things is to keep our customers happy. And when our customers are happy, they're also expanding the usage of Efecte. I talked to you about those three pillars. So the ITSM, kind of ITSM piece of the pie, enterprise service management, and IGA. And a lot of our customers, when they come and they start with ITSM, for example, they expand the usage of Efecte inside the companies. So they start to digitalize and automate more and more processes. And as more and more customers join the Efecte ecosystem, the more customers also, the more kind of usage of the Efecte grows, and therefore also kind of our revenue grows with that. If you look at the other metrics, LTV CAC at 10.6, that also means, I mean, depending who you ask, you say that if LTV CAC is over 5, it makes sense to invest, and that's what we have said as well. We have good unit economics. We have the opportunity to kind of continue investing in our sales and marketing, in customer expansion, in international expansion, and that is something we are going to continue doing. Our churn has been consistently staying below 5% in the past years, and that is where we feel it's a good solid base. If you look at on the next slide, if you look at the kind of our kind of the last few years in kind of financial profitability and cash development, we did in the beginning of Q1, we said that we're going to continue kind of investing more into our sales and marketing and product capabilities aligned with our refreshed strategy. And despite us starting to kind of put more investments into growth, we were able to keep our EBITDA margin positive. And basically, you look at the cash and liquid assets chart there, it basically means that the underlying economics of the SaaS business are really strong. And if you look at kind of just our go-to-market on the next slide. So we have our field teams in Finland, Scandinavia, and DACH. That's where we operate locally. And then on top of that, our international share of the total revenue has been growing steadily in the past years. And we are now looking at market entry pilots with our direct field force into new markets. So we're looking at Spain currently. There's a pilot ongoing, and we have been in the past 18 months starting to kind of expand through a partner channel as well. So we have partners across pretty soon most of the European countries, and we have already customer transactions or partners live in many countries like UK, Czech, Poland, Switzerland, and many other countries. And so in a way, if you look at our go-to-market, there are two pieces. One, we go direct, and second, in some markets, we kind of go through our partner channel. And our employee on the next slide, just a few points on that people slide. If you look at that trend from 2015, 17 to 21, so Efecte did an IPO in 2017, hired a lot of people, and now 18, 19, 20, kind of getting all of the kind of continuing kind of the growth, and now in 21 we started to increase our headcount again, and we have a really good talented team that is diverse of thoughts, diverse of location, and we are really proud of where we are there. Good. Let me do a time check. Okay, 3 more minutes to go. So on the next slide, a bit of positioning of the Efecte solution overall. It's a competitive market. There are a lot of players in this market. So you have both global Goliaths like ServiceNow in the game, and then you have also local players, and you have kind of the global Goliaths that operate in a different kind of low-cost model. And kind of the sweet spot for Efecte really is the customers that have enterprise level requirements in the mid-market, in the public sector, but they cannot afford to go with a solution that with the cost that cost doesn't make sense. So we have a system that's really agile. It's fully configurable. It's a low-code platform. It's easy. It's quick to deploy. Customers, it adapts to customers' requirement. We offer a competitive total cost of ownership. And as we operate from local, from Europe, there's a lot of kind of possibilities for the customers to choose, for example, the cloud, where they operate their cloud, and so forth. So that's kind of the sweet spot for us, kind of the European mid-market and public sector customers that need enterprise level functionalities, features, and they need to have that with a TCO that makes sense. Good. And I think that transitions us to the last slide, I believe, and that's the guidance for 2022 and all of that. So our guidance is that our SaaS net sales is expected to grow over 20% this year. We started with 21 in Q1, so we had a good strong start for the year. We expect EBITDA to be positive, and that is excluding any potential costs from inorganic activities. And in long term, we expect us to grow organically to 35 million euros. And that means we're going to, in average, continue a 20% SaaS margin, reach double-digit EBITDA in the end of the period. And then in long term, a longer term, we want to be the undisputed European leader in this space. And we need to get to a 100 million euro level to get there. And when we are there, I think then also the EBITDA margin is going to exceed 25%. So in the past few years, we have proved we have the capability to scale. We have increased our business 18 quarters in a row, over 20% SaaS growth. We have scaled internationally. We have proved with the SaaS metrics that we have a scalable operating model, And now we're going to take the next step. We're going to continue to that big ambition, become the European leader in this space. And with that, I think I used my 20 minutes.
You did perfectly. Thank you, Stefan. So let's start with some questions, and maybe I should shift to the last one here. So yeah, there is a question here about your growth potential in Finland. You were mentioning the market potential in Finland, so maybe you can use these numbers to elaborate on what is the growth potential in Finland, and also maybe in your existing markets.
Yep, that's a really good question, and thanks for bringing that up. In Finland, the addressable market for ICA and ITSM is around 70 million. And I think if you look at our market share in this space in Finland, I think we are at, depending a bit who you ask, maybe 15 to 20%. So that means that while we have a significant part of the market, there still is a lot of market to take, and the market is growing every single day. So we don't see the market that we have a market constraint in Finland. A lot of customers are kind of digitalizing and automating their processes every day. And then when you go to the Sweden market or German markets, I think we are just getting started. I mean, the market for these software solutions in Germany alone is 700 million. If we at some stage would get a 10% market share in that market, that would be a big number. But so I think there definitely is a huge market opportunity, and we don't see us market constrained at this stage.
What about the German markets? Do you have some large partnerships there, or how do you attack this market?
Yeah, so we have two ways. One, we have our own direct team. It's not too big. It's around 20 people, sales, marketing, delivery, and support. And on top of that, we also operate with partners. So one of the partners we are working with is, for example, Efecte. If some of you know the German market, they are a system integrator that have a lot of affiliates in Germany, and we work with them. So they offer the Efecte service management platform for their service desk. And we do have a few other partners there as well. So we operate with two nodes there.
All right. I also have a question about the business model. So currently your SaaS revenue constitutes about 60 or 62% of your total revenue. Are there any limits to this, or are you expected to grow this share towards maybe 50% or something like that?
Yeah, so I mean,
do you expect to increase the SaaS revenue of the total revenue?
Yeah, so I mean, if you look at the SaaS revenue and then you take also the recurring revenue we have in maintenance, so we are around 70%. So 30% is professional services. And if you look at our numbers, our SaaS business is growing faster than our services business. So SaaS growing at 24, services, anywhere between 15 and 20. That means that with time, that mix is going to change. And then the question is, like, what is the benchmark? If you look at some of the players in this market, when you are, let's say, 75, 80 to 20, then I think that could be an optimal spot. But services is strategic. Professional services is strategic to us as well, in a way that it helps customers to adopt the platform. It drives customer satisfaction. It helps to onboard new partners and so forward. So there is definitely this element of being very close to your customer as well.
Yeah. And I guess this increased the stickiness and of course it reduced the churn, right?
It definitely helps with customer satisfaction. And also if you look at the product, so how can you improve your product? It's being really close to your customers and helping them to be successful.
Yeah. Let's take a final question from the audience here. Do you expect that the growth in the identification slow as we have seen the top of work from home?
Yeah, it's probably the question about that identity governance and administration is like, do we see a slowdown of that? No, I think it's the opposite right now. The companies are struggling with digital identities. They are popping up everywhere. And there are more and more people changing jobs. That means that companies have to hire a lot of people. A lot of people are leaving, and they have left with this world that they don't know where the digital identities are. Do they have people in the system that don't work there anymore? So I think it's actually the opposite. So I see a big opportunity there for sure.
Perfect. Well, time is up, Stefan, but thank you very much for your presentation and answering all the questions. Thank you.
Yep. Hey, thank you so much, and have a wonderful summer, everyone.
You too.
Talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Talk to you. Bye.